1,200 migrants crossed the Channel on Saturday. Another record. Honestly, when is this going to stop? GB News' very own Camilla Tominey spoke to the Secretary of State for Defence, John Healey, yesterday. Have a listen.
In truth, Britain lost control of its borders 5 or 6 years ago. And so when the Tories left office and left government last year, they left the asylum system in chaos. They left record levels of immigration, and the sight we've seen of these small boats over this last 24 hours just underlines and highlights the problem.
Which is some truth in that.
Yep.
The Conservatives completely failed on this issue.
They did.
But we are now really tired of hearing this being used as an excuse.
And the first thing they did on day one was cancel the Rwanda plan, which may have worked, may have been a deterrent, but they weren't willing to give it a go.
Yeah.
But we're paying, as you know, £500 million, 500,000 to French police. Have a look at this.
So this was new footage which emerged over the weekend. This is French police basically doing very little to stop the migrant boats. And the papers were calling it a taxi service. We're basically offering a taxi service now. Keir Starmer has completely lost control of our borders in terms of illegal migration.
There's even a little one there being carried by his dad, getting into the dinghy.
In a way, why wouldn't these people...
Here's the police.
There they are, taking pictures.
Taking pictures.
Why wouldn't those people want to live here? I genuinely feel no ill feeling towards those individuals. I don't. I would want to come and live in this country. This country has a temperate climate. It has an opportunity to make money. It has the most generous social social funding in the world. We are a good country.
We're a soft touch.
We're a soft touch. The system is the problem. The absolute paucity of our borders. The system is broken, and there is no disincentive for coming here. There's no deterrent.
No. And look, horrific that 1,200 at the weekend. Yeah. Some of them could have died. Last week, somebody drowned at sea. We don't even bat an eyelid now when we hear of migrant drowns at sea. We think, oh, well.
Yeah.
Because we've got beyond that point.
I mean, look, this is not going to stop whilst Keir Starmer and his administration are weak. This is a weakness.
He has a chance here. This EU reset deal, which we call the EU surrender deal, part of that is going to allow French fishermen back into our waters. No, not until we have a proper deal where we can stop these migrants flooding into our country every day. That should be the deal. And I tell you, he'd get the deal.
And here's the thing, right? On a day like today, when we're talking about defending our country, we're literally being asked to imagine a war footing.
We can't even stop some dinghies.
We're being asked, imagine you will have to go, we are going to spend a lot of money so that we can fight for this country. Why would we? Genuinely, why would people, when this is what we see about our country, are those people there going to fight for this nation?
No, they're not.
I'm so sorry, but they're not.
They're laughing all the way to the Social Security Office. Now, the Home Office has given us a statement which says they want to end dangerous small boat crossings which threaten lives and undermine border security, and will stop at nothing to dismantle their business models and bring them to justice. Have you heard that before?
Stop at nothing.
Well, Alf, I mean, I think we know the answer from you. We lost the control of our borders a long time ago, didn't we? Good morning.
Yeah, did we ever have control? Certainly not since 2018, when these small boats started coming. Since then, we've had 165,000 cross the channel that we know about. That's the size of Sunderland or Milton Keynes or Huddersfield. Absolutely absurd. No, we have no control because there is no deterrence in place. And until we are serious about putting a deterrence in place, I'm afraid that they will continue to come.
James, that number is eye-watering, but compared to legal migration, it is still a small number. The difference being, of course, that people who arrive here legally intend generally to put back into the system to somehow work for their money. People have woken up now to the idea that these illegal immigrants are costing the UK taxpayer a fortune with no deterrence. What do we do?
Well, I don't know where you get the idea that the people who arrive here by small boat aren't wanting the same thing. I mean, that's literally what they're wanting to do. They can't work, obviously, because of the system that's in place. So many of them who arrive here, obviously, it takes over 6 months. I think 68% of them, it takes 6 months or more for their claim to be processed. That's the problem here. And the issue that we tend to have is, where do we put those people in the meantime? And that's the big debate that goes on. Are they in temporary accommodation? Are they in permanent accommodation? Some people want to send them away from the country. Some people want them to be processed here. I just think it's a complete dereliction of duty of a nation state to not be able to process people who arrive on their doorstep. Only 52% of these people have their claim accepted in the end anyway. So it's not like 100% of these people go on to live in the UK. Only 52% of them do so. And I just think welcoming those people here, they're going to arrive here regardless. And whatever loopholes there are, unless you want a nation that is patrolled with barbed wire fences 24/7, it's just not a realistic idea to think that we're going to have a nation that has no small
James,
boats arrive.
but isn't Alpha Mehmet right? We do need a deterrent, and there is absolutely no deterrent. It's just come on in, and even the French police, who we're paying £500 million to, are laughing at us. They're laughing at our no border controls, and they're even taking photographs.
I don't believe anybody is laughing at us. I think there's this strange kind of attitude that's going on here that we've developed, and it's very sad, actually. And I hear people calling out for a crisis to be declared, and that there is a crisis, and the language that's used is that there's a crisis. Where was the crisis for child poverty? Where was the crisis for people who had their benefits stripped from them from austerity? Because it seems like people care about those issues now, that migration's factored into it, but they never cared about it in the first place. These are real issues that matter, and blaming asylum seekers for them just doesn't stack up in my mind.
Alp, your response to that? Because you are a compassionate
there's so
person.
much to respond to. There's so much to respond to. First of all, we're assuming that all those who are crossing the channel are the sort of refugees, the sort of asylum seekers that the conventions had in mind. They're not. The vast majority are young, working-age men who can afford and have the strength to make their way over for a better life. Yeah, I don't blame them for that, but they're not refugees. Secondly, those who are, it's not a matter of how many are granted asylum and how many aren't. How many are they actually removing? There's virtually none being removed from among those who've crossed the channel in boats. We've committed the NAO, the NAO. The
National
Audit Office.
National Audit Office.
National Audit Office only 2 weeks ago said that the Home Office had committed £15 billion to be spent over the next decade. I would argue that if we were serious and dealt with those coming across illegally from the other side of the channel, we'd have a lot more to spend on the sort of children that you've referred to, my friend, the poor kids of poverty. This is not what the British people want. It's something that they are desperately angry about, and the government said it was going to do something about it, and all it's done is actually made it easier for them to come and stay. And
gentlemen, I'm sorry, because
them.
of pressure of time, we have to leave it there. That's Alpha Mehmet, Chairman of Migration Watch, and the political commentator James Mathieson.